So then is it fair then to go ahead and see, okay, this is something of the church and it bothers me. I want to leave such church, versus this is something in the church. It bothers me. I want to leave such church. And what would the differences be? I want you to think about this analogy of a home. And in the home, you could have people. And you could say, oh, well, who is of this house? Mina is of this house. So what does it say about the house? The house is Mina's. Now, if I say Andrew's in the house, does that say anything about the house?
No.
Andrew could be a co-tenant, and perhaps you guys share a lease. Perhaps you invited him over. Or Andrew is invading your home. He broke through the window, or you left the door unlocked, and he snuck into the church, and now he's there, and he leaves some sort of effect. And whether or not you're a good owner and you've noticed, perhaps it's your summer house. You know, engineering really paid off.
Yeah.
You have your nice summer house.
I hope so.
Beautiful in San Francisco or something. And you're only there 3 months out of the year. And Andrew comes in September, you just moved out in August to go back to work. And he's there the entire time. And you don't notice him. And he has his effect all this time. And it's not until so many months later that you come. By the time you come to your home, whatever he has done is done. And you can try to undo many of the things, but you find it's going to take a lot of effort. And when you look at the home and you say, oh, well, you know, I don't like this home, and you want to make a comment about the homeowner, I mean, it's not a good homeowner. Well, no, it's a summer home. The reasonable person who owns a summer home, they're going to keep it for a certain amount of time. This person came in and intruded. Like, you don't say after a burglary, dude, clean your room. Glass everywhere. Things are missing. So now take that analogy and analogize that to the church. How does the church fit into that context? Or that framework I just set up?
Like, how does it fit?
Can you fit that analogy? Can you connect the dots? I'm wondering if it's obvious enough to connect the dots.
Right, so it's like the church is of God, right? Just because there are certain things you don't like about the church doesn't mean that comes from God. And doesn't mean that you don't like God. Hopefully you don't look at it and you're like, I don't like God because this is in the church. So understanding this, looking at it in a perspective where you understand the difference between what is in the church and what is of the church. Yeah. The same thing as the house, right? So I know this was Andrew's fault, right? As opposed to like Mina's fault, because it's Mina's house, but you know, he's at the time he isn't there, whatever. So it's the same idea where we know the church is God's church, so it's not necessarily like, because I don't like certain things that's in it doesn't mean that's his doing. Right, and I think a lot of that has to go into stewardship, or to put that into a simpler term that we can apply to the analogy, a house sitter. So you know that no one's gonna be in the house for 9 months. But what happens if someone does break in? What happens if there's there's some places where you left the AC on and the thing freezes over? What if there's a fire? So you need someone to check up on the house, someone who's going to be have some sort of authority. So let's go back to the word steward. St. Paul called himself a steward, and back then, a steward wasn't so much of a person who was a house sitter as much as they were pretty much like an owner of a home when the owner was gone, and they would make decisions. So they'd be like, oh, we need to hire a gardener. Oh, you know what? The pipes need fixing. And they would make decisions for the house to keep it in order. And then the master would come and check up on it. Now, how does that apply to the church today? Abuna?
Yeah, exactly. So how does
stewards?
Yeah. So how does Abuna house sit the house of God? Because remember, it's God's house. It's of Him. How does Abuna sit that house?
Takes care of what comes in.
Takes care of what's in it.
Takes care of his flock, right? Like John chapter 10. And there's one more dynamic I didn't mention. But Mina finally finds the perfect girl. Single. Finally finds the perfect girl. And he gets married.
Don't spit on me. hate you.
Of course.
It's such an
Oh God. My bad.
You dropped Austin Powers. You dropped Trump.
Did I really?
No,
Stop doing
Did I
that.
fix it?
You dropped. No.
Don't do it. You've done enough.
This is an example. You are in the house, but you're not of the house.
Yes.
But you get one more now. So you got married finally, thank God. It was a good wedding. I loved it. Remember, you had Ibrahim Ayed come and he came to read the gospel. He held the candle instead. So, but you have kids.
Oh yeah, I wasn't invited either.
You have children.
When did this happen?
You have children. You have a child.
Oh okay.
And perhaps you
Hypothetical
adopt.
stuff.
And perhaps you adopt more children, and those
Okay.
are your family members that live in the home. And are those kids? Are your family members in the home or of the home? Even though you're the one who bought it.
They're of the home.
They're of. How do they become of the home?
They're his children.
Yeah, they're born of you.
Yeah.
They've entered a relationship with you, or you've adopted them. So then, the church, to take that analogy, becomes our house. So it's not just the priest is in the house, but he is of the house through adoption. We are of the house. So then, who are those intruders, invaders, things that weren't supposed to be in the church that came in? Sometimes we have people who break in. Those are heretics, like Arius and Nestorius, who bring in teachings. And we kick them out. First we try to talk to them and make them civil. They're more like a house guest who just became rowdy. And eventually we figure out, you know what, you're too crazy, you're wild, get out of here. And we have to clean up their mess, because they try to make a big mess, try to change the house, but we stop them. Then you get someone who is invited, but they have their thing. They put down the drink without the coaster and it leaves a ring. For example, and they leave different effects. And yes, the person was welcome, but the effect was not. Then you get others who whatever reason, you had a party and a bunch of people came and people came uninvited and they brought in things and you're like, what are you bringing in? And there was one time my friend was having a party and all these uninvited people came. Next thing you know, this guy is selling lamps that he made. He went to Home Depot, grabbed a cobalt, and started selling lamps. He sold it to a girl for $200 that he made at Home Depot. You do weird things at parties. You have a party and you wake up the next day and you find someone in your bathtub. Not personal experience, but you weird things happen, right?
It's me.
So now, take those things to the church. We've had lots of things come in that are foreign. And we sometimes need to think, well, are these of the church or are they in the church? And if they're in the church, are they welcome into the church? And there's some things that they're an uninvited guest. And what do you think those uninvited guests are? It's like, we said the mindset. Heresy, but then there's simpler things that I think are even deadlier than heresy.
Sin.
Okay,
Ignorance.
Ignorance? What about, judgment? Like, when we judge people...
That's actually a big one.
Yeah.
A lot of people leave the church because of judgment.
I'd say the top ones are... judgment and gossip. If anything.
Gossip is a big one.
I hate gossip.
Judgment, gossip, and the third one, duplicity.
You have to
Say
explain.
drama. Yeah.
You can explain that one.
Okay, maybe that could be our next videos, but just
Duplicity.
to wrap this up, yeah. Judgment, gossip, duplicity. We can
Duplicities.
make 3 more videos on that.
Duplicities. Wow. That's a great explanation, man. That was on point.
But that's essentially, I think, the most important thing I wanted to touch on with this channel and with everything else. Now, a lot of people say, I hate the Coptic culture. I hate the church culture. Oh, tell me the things you hate. I hate the judgment. That's not part of our culture.
Yeah.
That's not part of who we are. And then when they learn about the culture and recognize we're open and we don't care your past, that's how you were. But we care about now, like say Moses the Black. Mosi. He's a person who, if you look at his past, he's a killer, maybe a rapist, a thief, the captain of thieves. But then you look at what he became when he entered the church, repented, confessed, became a monk, became a priest, became the father of 70 priests. In some traditions we believe that those 70 thieves, when they saw him in his new life, they themselves repented and became monks under him, besides the thousands of monks he was priest over.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't care anymore that he killed. Actually, we think it's really kind of awesome that there's someone who lives such an evil life and they're a saint. You know, I could never be a saint because I did this and this and this. Really, but did you murder? And maybe you did. Okay, well, he murdered. And that's why he's in the entrance of the church. So when you come in, the first thought isn't judgment. People are going to look at me. People are going to do this and that. No. The first thought is, here's the worst sinner who became one of the greatest saints. And that's the part of the Coptic culture that I want to emphasize in these videos, in this channel. That side, and then the practical aspect of prayer, practical aspect of being a Christian, reading fathers, etc. I think those are the biggest things that challenge our faith, and those are the things that I feel like we need to address. So, I appreciate your guys' support. I appreciate the support of any viewers. I appreciate the support of any viewers.
It's me.
But
I'm me.
Hi, Andrew.
This is me from the future.
Oh, this is you from the past.
No, I'm from the future.
Okay.
Well,
Do
that's
not
pretty cool.
drink the water.
Drink the eggnog, Shabbat.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers,
Shabbat. To our Lord Jesus Christ. Be glory and honor with the good Father, Holy Spirit. Glory be to God forever. Amen.